Hi, I'm Sarah Henry and I'm from the Childcare Department here at Sheaf Training. So as part of my job role here, I work with further education learners and learners who are on apprenticeships. So that involves doing assessments with them, professional discussion and monitoring the vocational expertise. We've actually received 20 of these HP notebooks and these have really revolutionised what we do here at Sheaf. Because we actually now do more professional discussion with learners, we record the observations on them, we've actually got the facilities of the webcam as well, so if we want to use that we can use that, but it has really changed what we're wanting to do here because we're wanting to move towards paperless portfolios for our learners and we couldn't do that without the facilities we've got.
My name's Laura Brown and I'm a maths teacher at Birley Community College in Sheffield. What I planned was a sequence of lessons for the students to be able to find the equation of a straight line graph. The first lesson, they were given the equation and they were learning how to plot them. After that, we moved on to them being given the graph and they were trying to find the equation. I was then encouraging them to draw a graph for each other, swap them and find the equation of each other's graphs. But those who weren't very good at plotting them were then struggling to draw them for each other or they were getting them wrong. So the advantage of having the HP graphical calculators has meant they've been able to draw the graph on there, just by putting in the equation, it'll plot it for them. They can swap it with another student who's then using the graph to look at the gradient and the y-intercept to find the equation of the graph. They were then also able to look at the table function to see how much the y-axis coordinate changed as the x-coordinate increased by 1 each time, and that helped them to understand more fully what the gradient meant and how that related to the equation.
My name is Paul Salmons. I teach at Norton College in Sheffield, mainly A-level students, but with some GCSE students as well. In a few weeks' time, my AS level students will be doing transformations to trig functions. I'm looking at trying to get them used to what happens when you take the basic cosine graph or the basic sine graph and you do a transformation to try and get a sketch of maybe things like sine of 3x or sine of x minus 60 degrees. With the graphical calculators, they'll be able to investigate, without me actually leading too closely, the initial findings that they'll get from just trying different functions and then coming up with their own deduction about what the transformations are. Working in pairs, I anticipate that they'll also be able to kind of maybe play a little game where one might be able to do a graph of a particular function within limits, and the other person would be able to try and figure out what the function is, input it to their calculator and see if they get the matching graph. The students have done transformations to Cartesians. It's just they still struggle with sketching graphs, and without the graphicals it takes time to kind of go through the hand-drawn ones. So it will be a lot quicker, hopefully, and allow them to see more variety and to sink in with the graphical calculators.
As you've seen, we're not exactly IT rich in the temporary accommodation here, but having the graphical calculators so that every student can have the ability to draw graphs with a click of a few buttons is excellent. I've used the graph drawing part of the calculators today with the Year 13 group looking at exponential graphs, and used them with a Year 12 engineering group earlier in the week looking at trig graphs and transforming graphs at the touch of a button is excellent. The built-in applet for that saved immeasurable time with them getting the idea of the graph rather than spending 10 minutes drawing each one. I'm looking forward to using more of the algebra system, working out myself what it can do. Unfortunately, the calculators are too good for them to take into the exams, but the 39 GSs are excellent, and hopefully we'll be able to lend some of those to some students to using in an exam situation.
Hi, I'm Neil Hughes, work at Sheffield City Council at the Sheffield Engineering Centre. Around 2 years ago we received 20 HP notebook minis from the original HP Catalyst project. Bringing this equipment into the workshop means that which would normally be entirely practical subject, we can now look at IT skills, passing these on to students who have taken great advantage in having the equipment next to them in such a practical workshop.